Okay, well, I'm going to officially get us going here. Thank you again for all of you that just joined in on this wonderful webinar. We appreciate you being a part of our gathering this afternoon. So at this time, I want to take a few minutes to introduce everyone here, our panelists. I'm Angela Gomez. I'm the National Director of Development at Free Wheelchair Mission. I've been on the team for 16 years officially, November 2nd, and it's just such a joy and privilege to be able to work with all of you. And thank you. I get to do outreach and fundraising, so that's fun that I get to be a part of this. Moises?
Hey, thank you so much. My name is Moises Arauz. I'm the National Director of Metanoia Mission here in Nicaragua. And we are so happy and excited to partner with you guys, with Free Wheelchair Mission, and glad to be part of this webinar with all of our sponsors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Vanessa?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Vanessa Mendoza, and I am the Director of Programs for Free Wheelchair Mission. And I'm an old timer like Angela, so I have been with Free Wheelchair Mission for 15 years, and I'm very excited to share about Metanoia Mission, as well as all the hard work that our partners do.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Well, we're going to get this started by showing you this beautiful video that we have introducing these two amazing individuals, Octavio and Alfonso. So please enjoy.
My son and I were not born with disabilities. We used to be artisan divers. I am Octavio and this is Alfonso. We belong to the Miskita indigenous tribe in the North Atlantic of Nicaragua. For centuries, our people have lived from fishing and diving. My ancestors were divers. I was also a diver for 32 years, and I taught my son Alfonso that way as well. It is a dangerous job that requires diving up to 130 feet deep without equipment in order to obtain the fruit of the depths. When you dive into the waters, you are always aware that it might be the last time. But the responsibility of being the provider drives you to do it. On our last dive, we decided to go deeper than normal to look for our daily lobster. We surfaced too fast, and that's when the day came that we never expected. We both suffer a cerebral embolism. My son Alfonso and I were transferred from the high seas to the hospital in Bilwi, Nicaragua to try to regulate the cerebral decompression in one of the only 2 decompression chambers in my country. But it was too late. The damage to our bodies was done. We had lost our mobility. We have to face the challenge of never walking again. Struggling with the thoughts of, what did we do wrong? Why us? Why both of us? When all seemed lost, and just as my son and I lost our mobility, we regained it. We received our first wheelchairs. We couldn't believe it. The wheelchair not only changed our lives, it enabled us to do everyday things, and we knew we have gotten new legs, a new opportunity. I am thankful to Free Wheelchair Mission for giving us our lives back.
Wow, Moises, thank you so much. That's such a beautiful video, and I think really demonstrates the amazing work that your team does and the lengths that you will go to serve, and it's amazing, and we're so thankful for it. I am going to share with you a little bit, just to give you all that background, how Free Wheelchair Mission works with our partners and how we are structured. So part of the reason that Free Wheelchair Mission is able to have such a wide reach, right? We're in 94 different, we have been, we're not currently in 94 different countries, is because we partner with organizations all over the world. We don't actually have a presence in any of the countries that we serve. We will work with organizations like Metanoia. Here is a list of some of the other partners that we will do work with all over the world. And the way that we do that is we will vet them, but we will make sure that they are able to receive the wheelchairs and that they are able to distribute them appropriately, right? Make sure that they are able to distribute them safely. Another thing that we do have to make sure they're able to do, which again, Metanoia gets all gold stars for being able to do, is being able to provide us with videos, photos, and stories so that then we can share with you all of our hard, can you go back one more, Stephen? All of our hard work. So the way that we are structured, it's demonstrated here, is you have Free Wheelchair Mission in Irvine. And my team builds relationships with these organizations all over our world. And the term that we use is distribution partner. So Free Wheelchair Mission sets up these partnerships with the partner. We train them, we coach, we audit as well, right? The quality of the work. And then our partners in turn are responsible for managing their network. So we have currently 57 active partners, and those partners are managing hundreds of sub-distribution partner networks. It's a very, very challenging endeavor, and it's very challenging, especially the larger the partnership is, for them to be able to then ensure the quality of the wheelchair provision all the way down the chain. It's also very challenging for them to be able to get, and Moises, I think, can attest to this, to be able to get the quality photos, stories, and videos from their network. So that just gives you a little bit of background on how Free Wheelchair Mission is structured and how exactly it is that we work with our partners. Angela, I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I know it's such a beautiful partnership that we have, a collaborative all over the world, and we couldn't do this without all of our distribution partners as well as all of our supporters around the world and in the US. And so, Moises, I'd like to take a minute or two, if you can just share with us a little bit about, for those that aren't very familiar with Nicaragua, tell us all about your country and your work there.
Well, thank you, Angela, for allowing us to be here. And I mean, what can I say? You know, as all of you guys, you are proud where you were born. I mean, I'm very proud because I was born here in Nicaragua. Our Nicaragua is a beautiful country. We call it the land of fire and water. We have 19 active volcanoes. I mean, and it's this beautiful place. This is what we call an untouched paradise. But sadly, you know, we have been involved in, you know, with politics, you know, situations and things like that. And we are the poorest country, poorest Spanish country from the entire world, you know, and which give us, you know, some challenges, you know, and I know that we have lots of richness and things, but at the end, we fight, you know, with poverty. And, you know, that's where you guys jump in, you know, to help us providing wheelchairs. Metanoia basically is a nonprofit organization. We have been in Nicaragua for the last 20 years. And basically our vision is to help, to bring hope to the hopeless. That's pretty much, you know, in general, if I can say, you know, what we are doing here. We are working with wheelchairs, we are working with widows, we are working with feeding centers. But, you know, for our topic of today, you know, I mean, we are so happy and excited to work with you. I think we started a relationship, if I don't remember wrong, like 14 or 15 years ago with you guys. And you were one of our first partners, you know, who believed in us. And you know, and at this point, I think we have been able to distribute over maybe 15,000 wheelchairs, if I don't remember wrong.
That's correct. Yeah, we started together in 2005. I can't even believe it. So actually before I started, and yeah, well, currently the number we have is almost 16,000, Moises.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's exciting. I mean, imagine from chair number 1 to church, almost 16,000. I mean, 16,000 lives that they have been totally changed and transformed. And I mean, that makes us, you know, happy and, you know, and excited for the next 16,000.
Moises, do you get to deliver the majority of the wheelchairs, or do you have a big team that's a part of the deliveries?
Not really, Angela. Our team is basically, it's a small team. We are 8 workers. That's it. What we have, as a main team. But what we have, learning this from you, is that we have partners as well. We call it the sub-partners. And these are the people that help us to go all over the nation. I mean, we go north, south, east, west. We go to the volcanic side of our country, and then we go to the side, the mountains, and also we go to these little islands that we have as well. So we go here and there, and we do it through our sub-partners. At this point, we have 17 sub-partners, and they are the ones who help us, to go pretty much, across the country.
Thanks, Moises. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you can share for our supporters, what all else Metanoia Missions does in Nicaragua. And you went into it a little bit right now, talking about your sub-partners, but if you could spend a little more time talking about how the partnership between us works and how we work together in providing wheelchairs.
Well, I mean, Metanoia, we have basically 4 main areas or 4 focuses that we have. We work with food, we have feeding centers, and then we work with health, and that's include, the wheelchairs, and then we have leadership development, and another department that we call it compassion, where we have widows, orphanage, and things like that. But coming to what we are doing with you guys, I mean, you trust us basically, with the wheelchairs, and you send us the wheelchair, you pay for all the shipping all the way to our port. And when it's in our port, that's where we take it, that's where we basically go get the chairs based on a requesting list that we already have. We have a process established where people, they come to us, they come through churches, or we have organizations like people that they have been in war, or they're victim of war, or the diving association, National Diving Association. We have different organizations. They come to us, they present us a list. Basically, they give us, different requests, and we ask, for their ID. We also ask for a medical prescription, something that will tell us that they are needing the wheelchair, so we can be, a good steward of the resources that you are trusting us. And then what we do is that we have our team that we go through and we'll check, if this person really need it, if this person is proper basically to receive the wheelchairs, because sometimes not everybody, actually need a wheelchair. They might think that they need one, but we go through the process that we learn from you. And then we go ahead, and mark, approve, or sometimes we say not approve, or we try to connect it with other people that they might have, like a walker or a cane, something that they actually need instead of a wheelchair. And then we start the process of distributing the wheelchairs through our sub-partners all over, the country.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Thank you. And can you just tell us a little bit, I'm sure like most of the world has been impacted by this pandemic. How has COVID-19 impacted Nicaragua? And how has the mission to provide wheelchairs continued despite these challenges?
Yeah, well, the COVID, beside the, the issue, of the COVID itself, and, this is kind of hard, to say without being politic, I'm going to just say, our authorities somehow, they didn't recognize the challenges that we were facing, to the point that they were saying like was just one person who died maybe per week, when everybody else in Central America, we were facing way higher numbers, and by denying it created, a moment, in Nicaragua where nobody really believed, what was going on. And us, for example, coming to distribute the wheelchairs, they were like, you don't supposed to be here. I mean, you don't supposed to be in contact, with my grandma, for example. And you don't supposed to be, here in contact with my nephew who maybe through an accident lost, one of, his legs, because they didn't know if they actually were able to receive us or if we are going to bring, the COVID, it was kind of hard, because in the past, before the COVID, we were going, distributing here in Nicaragua. They are very friendly. Hey, please welcome, mi casa es su casa, like a come over, be part, of us, you want coffee or something like that. But then we realized that they didn't even want to get into their houses, they were like concerned or afraid because, I mean, and I can imagine, I'm, laying there, my bed, and these guys, they have been going house to house, and house to house, you get COVID, and now you come to my house and you're gonna, infect me, with the COVID. So it was a challenge, and especially because what we were trying to do was now to go house to house, which make it way, hard, because in the past you can maybe call for a small program, maybe 5-10 people, put them together, and it's different when you have to go to 10 different houses, instead of putting them together, the 10 of them all in once. And beside that, the distances in Nicaragua, I mean, they're not like the east and the coast, from you in the state, but at least we have distances here, when we don't have access, and that was another challenge, people, they were concerned, for us to come into their house because we might bring the COVID, into the relatives. That was another challenge. But we made it through, and the house-to-house project, that was, an amazing opportunity for us to, to be more close with the people. Sometimes when we do like a small groups, it's fine, but when you're face-to-face, Angela, that makes, like deep, and you really pay attention, and that was hard.
Were there specific regions of Nicaragua that were closed off at any point, or was most of the country still open? How was that?
Well, Nicaragua never closed neither the borders. Honduras and Costa Rica, they did close it. And since we are in the middle, we basically were closed, but Nicaragua never closed. And especially because 90% of the workers, they do it as an informal job. They don't have an office. They don't have, like that. They basically go out to the street, to their farm. So it wasn't like you are going to close the businesses. Pretty much they are like in their own trying to figure out what to do. So we never closed. So the country wasn't never closed, but the people, the family, they were more like, like cautious, I would say. They were like, I don't know. Should we let you in or not? So that was another challenge. But I would say the challenge for us as a team was basically to never stop giving the wheelchairs, because with COVID and not COVID, the need is still there. The need of the wheelchair, they are there. And with COVID or not COVID, at the end, we knew that, and we never stopped. Thanks God. We were working hard, to do our best and to be able to bring the wheelchair to those that they needed.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Thanks, Moses. I know it was such a challenge for you, and we were definitely praying for you all and your families all of last year and the year before. If you don't mind, and you talked about it a little bit, the one silver lining, right, is going home to home and getting close to people. So I know you have a lot of stories, right, of the transformation that you see when someone receives access to mobility. And the one we shared earlier was for, the father and son, Octavio and Alfonso. Can you tell us a little bit more about their story? And also too, and you touch on it a little, the work that goes into these inaccessible areas. Sometimes it's hard for us to conceptualize. Yeah, even though it's maybe not a big country, the issue with accessibility and having access to the people that you're serving.
Yeah, well, I mean, my I get a smile, in my face, because we are, like you can see the map right there. We are in Managua, and Octavio and Alfonso, they live up north to a community called Bilwi. And basically, I mean, in distance is less than 400 miles, distance, but in access, that's something else. You have to drive, and there are no pavement, road there, and there, you have also take a boat, and then you need to take a canoe so you can get there into the community. And Octavio and Alfonso, Vanessa, they are divers. Well, they were divers, basically what we call the daily bread. They call it a daily lobster, because that's what they, dive, to try to get. And so you can have an idea, for 1 pound of lobster, they get paid 30 cents. 30 US cents for 1 pound of lobster. That's what, what they do. So if they want to make like $1, they have to get, a lobster that is at least 3 pounds, which will be selling the market for a big number, but that's, how they survive. And, these two guys, Octavio and Alfonso, the father taught, the son to be a diver. At the beginning, without oxygens, at the beginning, without anything, just as a, the way, that traditional way. So, but, sadly that day, they were diving, and, in their excitement or maybe in the need, I don't know, or maybe both, a combination of both, they keep diving, diving 140 feet, which would be like maybe 50 meters or so. And normally when you are going up, you're supposed to go like in 45 degrees because, that compression in your head or in your system, but the lack of oxygen is obligated to go up straight. And sadly, the two of them, they lost their mobilities, and what they do in order to basically be able to bring them back to mobility, they put them again, into the water so they can try to regain the pre-existing, compression, but didn't work. And in the whole country, we have 2 chambers of the compression, and which you can see right there in the picture. And by that time, that they were able to bring them into this chamber, it was too late, I mean, it was really sad, because the guilt was like, what did we do? I mean, why us? Maybe, and I know this is hard, maybe one, but the 2 of us, and the father and the son, they are struggling. It was a traumatic moment for them, for the 2 of them. And, but the father, he was able to overcome, after, we were able to provide the wheelchairs, they were like, oh man, thanks God we have a wheelchair. And now he's working in the National Diving Association to bring conscience, to share, hey, they are my friends, my people, they're still struggling, And I mean, to see that, I mean, that was impactful to us, because it wasn't just the driving or then taking a boat or then taking a canoe. It was the story of the father and the son and the 2 of them, the providers of the house. I mean, being, you know, in this situation. So more stories like that, I mean, make everything worth it, you know, like, you know what, let's do it again, you know. So because we are transforming their lives. We are bringing the gift of ability. I mean, that's what it is, you know. So that day that we went, you know, and we did the interview was the first time that they came back to the port. And it was a moment when the two of them, they were just looking, you know, to the ocean. And I mean, we knew, we didn't say anything. We just left them there. The two of them looking at each other, you know, looking into the ocean, maybe thinking when they used to be a divers. But I mean, that was like a moment like, gosh, you know, Lord help us, you know, so we can do more for people like Octavio and Alfonso. It was, I mean, those kind of moments that you want to frame, you know, in your soul. So.
That's amazing, Moises. And I imagine, you know, again, and Metanoia has many more stories like this and many of our partners. And again, we're just so thankful for the hard work you do, not just to provide the wheelchairs, but to bring these stories to us, because it is, that takes dedication too, not just importing and making sure that, you know, everyone who receives a wheelchair should be receiving a wheelchair, but then going afterwards and following up and getting these beautiful stories. So just thank you so much, Moises.
Yeah. Well, but at the end, Vanessa, that's what really is, you know, everything that we do is based on that. I mean, I know that we are here because Octavio and Alfonso are there, but also we are here because of you guys and because of, you know, people, you know, who are believing and supporting, you know, this vision. So it's not just Metanoia. I mean, it's all of you guys. I mean, without you and without the supporters, you know, we won't be able to make real, you know, the story of Octavio and Alfonso. So it is all of us together, you know, working with one goal, which is, you know, to change their lives. And I mean, we are honored to do that.
Great. We have a couple of questions that have come up. One of them, going back a little bit, what kind of challenges do you face during distributions of wheelchairs, and what kind of advices can you provide partners like you in the process? Came from one of our viewers.
One of the challenges is, you know, like access. You know, we are a developing country. We don't have, you know, like access, you know, to all the communities. So sometimes we have to take, you know, the wheelchairs, you know, in our shoulders. Sometimes we have to take a donkey. We have to take a boat. We have to take, I don't know, whatever it takes. So I think those are the real challenges, you know. Imagine the challenge for us to get there. But for us, that was just a one-day challenge or maybe two-day challenge. But for the people, is an everyday challenge. I mean, that's how they have to live. I mean, and that's, you know, like the real challenge, you know. So sometimes we have success, you know, in the challenge, the access. And, you know, and we have to play around. I mean, we have to do our best, you know, and I would say one of the advice is be ready, you know. I would say, you know, try to shape up a little bit because sometimes, you know, you don't know what's gonna, you know, take, you know, from you to be able to give the wheelchair, you know, and enjoy the moment as well. That would be my advice. Enjoy the moments, because these are moments, you know, that they don't, I mean, just dissipate, you know. I mean, they stick with you for years. I mean, and, you know, for example, I have my little kids, they watch to what I do, you know, and to hear them, hey, Dad, I wanna take a wheelchair, you know, on a donkey. And, you know, I mean, that's exciting because, you know, it's what you're looking, you know, that's what you want to do.
Great. We got a question here from one of our listeners, Metanoia Missions is a faith-based organization. Can you share the role that faith plays in the delivering of wheelchairs?
Say it again.
We know that Metanoia Missions is a faith-based organization. Can you share a little bit about the role that faith plays in the delivery of wheelchairs?
You know, I think that even though we are a faith-based organization, people they have a hunger, you know, for faith. You know, people, they sadly, you know, in our country, they have been played a lot, you know, manipulated this and that. And I think that our people, you know, they have a faith, but sometimes they don't know in whom to believe, you know. And organization like us, you know, or like Free Wheelchair Mission, we basically go there. We don't obligate them to believe what we believe. I mean, we never obligate that, but we are, you know, open to always pray, you know, and a prayer always, you know, bring comfort to the soul. So that's what we try to do always, and we are glad, you know, that we have our faith, and you know, and we share it, you know, by prayers, and people, they go like, "Thank you. Can I give you a hug?" You know, and that's a beautiful, you know, moment.
Moises, I know that you have some other stories to share.
Yeah.
And we also have some stories or some photos to share here from Maria Flores and her brother.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And would you share with our supporters a little bit about them and what that experience was like, what went into also providing their story to Free Wheelchair Mission?
Yeah. Thank you, Vanessa. Well, Maria and Miguel Angel, or Michelangelo, I know, kind of like Italian name. Maria and her brother, they are 1 year apart. Basically, Maria, you know, she had, you know, her first months normal, what we'll call, and suddenly, you know, there was a tumor in her spine, you know, and the tumor start growing and developing, you know, some issues, you know. So she never walked, and sadly, you know, the tumor affect, you know, all the spine to the point that she was unable to basically move, you know, her legs. And we met her, I think it was a couple of years ago, if I don't remember wrong, in a place called Chontales. And we came for her, you know, we came, you know, looking, you know, for her to give her the wheelchair, because that's the story that we knew. When we got to their house, I mean, we found out that she had a brother, Miguel Angelo, and who basically was born like a 1 year after. And the mom was taking care of the two of them, you know, because she doesn't walk and he can basically just crawl. And the father, you know, who was basically a farmer, he decided to, you know, to leave them, you know, and he died. And actually, you know, that was a hard moment also for the mom. And stories like that is kind of like, you know, what sometimes you don't expect. You go for one, and sometimes, you know, they are relatives. And we didn't know, but they were hiding Miguel Angelo because, you know, in our country, sometimes, you know, they have this mindset, you know, that one child with this, you know, situation may be a curse from God, you know, who knows? Two childs, you know, in the same situation, you know, I mean, something is wrong with that family. So sometimes families, you know, they hide their kids, you know, they don't want to, you know, being exposed because they don't want to be, you know, I would say stigmatized, you know, like there is a curse on this family. So, and that was, you know, our big surprise. I remember when we went to Maria's house, we met her, you know, and then we found out that she had a brother, you know, like I was born a year, you know, later. So, yeah, so I mean, we fight, you know, with sometimes traditions and beliefs, you know, and since our countries, they are very connected, you know, with faith and spirituality, you know, sometimes, you know, in their beliefs, you know, this might be a curse from God, which we know is not true. You know, this might be, you know, just a factor, maybe a DNA issue or whatever, you know, but, you know, how do you explain something like that, you know, to, you know, a lady who has been in the farm, you know, the husband died, you know, and now she has to deal, you know, with a little boy that is crawling, you know, and another daughter that cannot walk. So it's hard, But I remember Maria, basically, I mean, we went for one and, you know, at the end we gave two. One of these days, we received a request from Maria, you know, asking for a wheelchair for her. And, you know, now she's selling fruits. The mom goes, you know, and she gets vegetables and things like that. And Maria, she has like a little table and she sells, you know, with her wheelchair, you know, right there outside of the house, she sells fruits and vegetables. So, I mean, and that's part of the change. That's part of the change. That's part of the change.
They both look so good and proud in their wheelchairs.
Yeah. I mean, you can see in the pictures. I mean, that's how they live. No. I mean, just their floor, no mattresses. You know, they have, I mean, like a metal roofing. You know, as a wall. I mean, that's the reality. You know, and on top of that, crawling, not being able to see the light. I mean, it is tough. It is tough. So that's why, you know, we do what we're doing.
Moises, can you share with our supporters a bit just about the overall need, as you know it, for wheelchairs in Nicaragua, what the need is and why the need exists, you know, and what all is being done about that?
Well, there is a program in Nicaragua. It is basically called the National Disability Program. You know, it works with the health department. Something that we learned is that there are three main diseases in Nicaragua. You know, diabetic, and sometimes, as you know, most of the times, if you don't really deal with diabetic, you know, you end up in an amputation. And also the other one is what they are called like arthritis, you know, like what's the name in English? I don't know. It's like when you have issues, you know, with articulation in your bones, you know, like arthritis. And people with arthritis, you know, they end up also in wheelchairs. And the third killing in Nicaragua is high blood pressure. And sometimes the high blood pressure end up in a stroke. And if you have a stroke, you end up in a wheelchair. So when you have diabetic, you know, arthritis, you know, I don't know exactly the right word in English. And also you have, you know, people with high blood pressure ending up, you know, with the strokes. The three main diseases in Nicaragua end up, you know, to be a user of a wheelchair. So in this program, you know, they say that there are 132,000 people in their program needing, you know, some level of help. This is in disability, but talking about physical disability, you know, people that cannot walk, the number that they gave us is 51,416, you know, needing, you know, wheelchairs. 31,245 people who have mental disabilities, you know, 14,500 visual disabilities. So, but this is just the people that they are in the program. I mean, most of the statistics, as you know, they say that it's if I don't remember wrong, it's 16 or 18% of the world population, they have disabilities. So, I mean, when you have a population of 6.5 million, I know we have some more, but just in the program, people who has an ID, people who are in the computer system is 51,416. But we know that we are not a developed country, that we have access to computer or database, you know, like, so we know sadly that there are some more, or maybe way more, that they are not in the program. So that's the challenge that we are facing. Imagine in 15 years, 16 years, almost 16,000. So it will take us what? Another 30 some years to basically match to what is in the list. And this doesn't include, you know, the new people every year for the next 30 years. So it is a big, I mean, this is something, you know, like seems impossible to reach. And we know that we might not be able to reach them all, but we will do our best, you know, through you guys, through your support, through your help, to reach as much as we can.
Thank you, Moises. Those are sobering numbers. We are dedicated together to try and do what we can, but those are definitely big numbers. And just a reminder too, this session is being recorded, so it will be available later. And we do intend to share it on social media, so then you can in turn share it to your social media network.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions that have come up. Moises, like Maria's story with the fruit stand, are there I'm sure there's so many beautiful stories like hers that you could, you know, tell us all about, but
I can pop another one.
Yeah, can you share another example or an opportunity that opened, just that stands out to you?
So for example, someone that comes right now, I don't know if maybe Steven, he can find pictures, I don't know. There's a pastor, he was a pastor for 40 some years, you know, so they told me, hey, Moises, you know, there is a pastor, you know, who in a wheelchair, but not just his pastor, you know, not just the pastor. He has 3 kids with disability. And I was like, a pastor with 3? And then, you know, I go there and I you know, I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna just take the 3 extra wheelchair just in case. Because in my mind, 1 family member using wheelchair, that's fine. 2, we have some 3 family members, that's something. 4 family members needing wheelchairs. I mean, I was like, so we go to this community, we drove like maybe 7 hours or so. And then we found Pastor Mario. I mean, he got, you know, retired from being a pastor. And, you know, he was amputated because of diabetes. 2 daughters beside the mental disability, with, you know, physical disability. There you go. That's them. Thank you, Stephen. Oh my goodness, you know. So that was her. And, you know, that was one. And then, you know, the other little girl with disability, I was like, my goodness, you know. And then there is another sister that she had some mental disabilities. One day, you know, she was playing, you know, at the kitchen, and she got, you know, burned, you know, her face, you know, her neck, and I mean, stories like them, like Pastor Mario, I was like, oh my word, you know, I couldn't believe it, you know. And there was another son, you know, of them who is not in the picture, who need the 4th wheelchairs. I mean, we were like stories like them. And you can hear, you know, this pastor saying, thank you, God. Thank you for the wheelchairs. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, sometimes we think that we have it hard, but there are people that they have it, you know, like tough. I mean, that's the picture. He was, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I mean, I was like, oh, what do you do? I mean, just like, you know, ask God to give you strength, you know, so you can, you know, And you know how I ended up that day? Asking the pastor, would you pray for me? Because I felt, that I need it, because, that's Pastor Mario. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, this work, like you said a little earlier, you have to just develop your muscles to be able to get the wheelchairs in some of those very remote areas, but also the reward, the prayers, the joy, the tears of gratitude make it all worth it. Those really long days where sometimes, it feels like the work is never going to end, but it's when you hear those people, the people that you get to meet on those distributions, the family members, their gratitude, it just makes it all worth it. And Moises, I apologize, I can't remember. Did you share how you heard about Free Wheelchair Mission earlier?
How we heard?
How you got involved with Free Wheelchair Mission, you personally, or Metanoia?
Well, Metanoia got involved because our founder, he's a pastor from the state, and then someone, told him about you guys. And we were like, well, why not? Let's knock, the door. And you guys, we were, in shock when you open it, say, yes, absolutely. We want to help you. We want to partner. And we're like, well, what's, how that's going to be? And, and you guys, after, doing the process, establishing, a good, relationship and probably you saw that change, that we're doing the right thing, you entrusted the first container with generation 1 that we don't have anymore, those wheelchairs. And that was our beginning. That was the beginning of our walk. So beautiful.
It's been a wonderful journey, a wonderful partnership. A lot of really great work has been accomplished over all these years, but as you said, the work, there's still a lot more people that we want to help, you want to help, and Free Wheelchair Mission wants to help. So, at this time with just what a lot of people say, well, how can I help? For us, we need awareness. That's where I come in, is really helping people understand that Free Wheelchair Mission, through partnerships like Metanoia Missions, we are there to serve and help around the world and provide the gift of mobility. So please introduce, for those of you listening, maybe for the first time, or you're involved in social groups or your work company matching, there's different ways that we could use your help with introductions, with opening doors. And, as we're entering into the holiday season coming up here in the US, many of you may be looking for alternative gift options. We have Christmas cards that represent a wheelchair, the gift of mobility. So that's a way that you can sort of pass the gift and pay it forward, if you will. So we have all of these tools and informations available on our website, as well as you can definitely contact us at Free Wheelchair Mission. And I think we're getting close to the end. Let me take a look here, Vanessa. I think we have one.
We have 2 more questions. We might only have time to get to the first one that still remains. Okay. So this one was from David Fusco for you, Moises. With such a large need for wheelchairs, how do you determine who will receive and who won't?
Well, the need is big, and basically what we do is that we go through a process. We need ID, we need a medical prescription, and sometimes we also determine if they are wheelchairs users for a short term or for long term. But one of the main way, of defining is based, on their financial access. We want to help as a first hand, those who don't have, the access, the financial access. And how do you translate that, in a country, where their minimum wage is $165 per month? Well, that would be the cost of a wheelchair, pretty much, So someone will have to save the complete month of salary but sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 family members, they can probably do something, but there are other people that sadly, they don't even have that amount. So that's one of the main, aspect, how do we select, and sometimes with a broken heart, like, how can, this can be possible, but I mean, that's how we do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Our last question, I'm going to direct this one to you, Vanessa. One of the questions we got from our audience members is does Free Wheelchair Mission get involved in any form of advocacy for the beneficiaries to raise their confidence levels? Is there any way you can answer that?
Yeah, definitely. So Free Wheelchair Mission doesn't get involved like within a country, right, with advocacy. Like we do not go to the ministries of health or social services or anything like that and lobby in that way. When we partner, we will generally encourage our partners to make that a part of their program. And as Moises knows, so in our training program, one of the things we talk about is changing attitudes, right? As Moises mentioned, in a lot of the countries we serve, there is a lot of stigma involved. And there's not only stigma for the different family members, maybe sometimes it's just because it's part of the culture, it's within the organizations that we partner with as well. And so we kind of start there talking about respectful language, making sure that you approach the person who is in need of the wheelchair first instead of speaking over them, right? And talking about, in general, advocacy, but we do not, as an organization, sort of lobby the governments or set up disabled person organizations, right? The DPOs, we don't set that up. However, it is just a natural byproduct a lot of the time, similar to the story that Moises shared, right, about Alfonso and Octavio. We have many stories of our wheelchair users, because they now have access to become more integrated into their communities. They are taking on the role of advocates for people with disabilities and for greater integration into society, the larger society. So I hope that answers your question, Abraham.
I think it does. Well, this has been such a wonderful time to be together. Very fortunate. Muchas gracias, Moises, por su tiempo, por su trabajo. It is a pleasure to work with you, to work with all of our partners around the world. And we are just grateful to all of our supporters for your trust in our work and your generosity throughout the years during this really difficult time during a pandemic that has impacted everyone around the world. So we just thank you. If you want to get further involved, again, feel free and reach out to us. Visit us on our website, freewheelchairmission.org. We have very creative ways to get involved. We have a wonderful ambassador program, a church program, a corporate involvement program. So we definitely want to get you engaged. And for children and young families, we have different ways to teach the gift of just caring for others through the next generation. So we have different programs for young children too. If you have a young family, grandchildren, we definitely want to get you involved. So again, thank you so much, Vanessa, for your time and your dedication to this mission. You're my comadre in crime. We get to do this wonderful work for all these years. And just again, thank you. And don't forget, we'll be sharing the recorded link and share it with your friends and family on social media too.
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
God bless you. Thank you, guys.